Stop right now and listen to every word I'm about to tell you, because what you're about to discover is going to completely rewrite your understanding about that act of kindness you did years ago, thinking it meant nothing. Exactly 96 hours ago, I received classified information from higher frequencies. Information so specific that it can only apply to you. And what I'm about to reveal about that seemingly insignificant moment where you helped someone who appeared to be just a common person is going to shatter every belief you had about coincidences, because that person wasn't common. It wasn't by chance. You weren't in that place by accident. And she wasn't just any stranger needing help. She was your soulmate, and you've been living without knowing that you saved her. There's a devastating difference between helping someone out of natural kindness versus literally saving the only person in this universe designed specifically to complete your frequency. And that difference has just been revealed in dimensions that monitored that encounter from before it even happened. Because here's the part that's going to paralyze you. She knows who you are. She discovered everything. She's been watching you since that day without you realizing it. And what she did with that information is about to transform your reality in ways that only cosmic forces could orchestrate. Subscribe to this channel immediately and activate all notifications, because what I'm about to reveal about the person you saved without knowing is being systematically blocked so that separated soulmates don't discover they've already met. Stay until the end, because I'm going to show you exactly what happened that day, how she discovered the truth, what she's doing right now to find you again, and why that moment was orchestrated by higher dimensions millennia ago. Write 777 in the comments if you've had a brief encounter with someone who impacted you profoundly without logical reason, and you're ready to discover the devastating truth about who they really were. We go back 3 years, possibly 4, maybe 5. The exact time doesn't matter. What matters is the moment. It was a completely ordinary day. Nothing indicated that the entire universe had conspired to place you in a specific place at a precise moment. You didn't feel any special vibration. You didn't see cosmic signs. You didn't hear celestial voices. You were just there, and she was there. And what seemed like a casual encounter was actually a convergence of timelines that had been calculating for millennia. You saw her, not how you would normally see someone. Something in your frequency recognized something in hers. It wasn't common physical attraction. It wasn't superficial curiosity. It was resonance, like 2 radio frequencies tuning in perfectly after searching for each other through the static noise of existence. And then something happened. She was in trouble. Not necessarily life-threatening danger. Maybe it was as simple as needing directions in an unfamiliar city. Maybe she needed help carrying something heavy. Maybe she was having an emotional crisis in a public place. Maybe she needed money for transportation after losing her wallet. The specific problem doesn't matter. What matters is this: any other person would have walked past. Any other day, you yourself might have walked past. But that day, in that precise moment, your frequency of compassion was vibrating at such an elevated level that you simply couldn't ignore her. You approached. You offered help. You didn't expect anything in return. You weren't trying to impress. You had no hidden agenda. You're simply a genuinely good person operating from a natural frequency of service. And what she saw in that moment left her absolutely paralyzed. She didn't see just any man being kind. She saw an energetic pattern she had been consciously searching for during years. She saw a frequency that had been told in dreams she would find. She saw physical confirmation of visions she'd had since childhood, about someone who would come when she needed it most. But here's what you didn't know. That encounter wasn't the first time she saw you. While you were helping thinking she was just any stranger, she was experiencing a complete reality collapse. Because she's different. Not like common people searching for romance or companionship. She's a conscious soulmate. That means since she was little, she's had visions about you, about your face, about your energy, about the exact moment where you would meet. When she was 8 years old, she would wake up crying from dreams where she saw someone with your exact frequency saving her from darkness. When she was 14, she started drawing your face without knowing why. She drew in the margins of notebooks during boring classes. She drew on napkins when distracted. Always the same face, always the same eyes. And she didn't understand why. When she was 18, she consulted mediums, psychics, spiritual readers, all confirming the same thing. Her soulmate would come disguised as casual kindness in a moment of vulnerability. They told her that recognition would be instantaneous, that when she finally saw you, every cell in her body would know without doubt. And that's exactly what happened. When you approached that day, her nervous system experienced instantaneous recognition. It wasn't superficial attraction. It was activation of a dormant code in her DNA, waiting to be awakened by a specific frequency. Your frequency. She felt every cell in her body vibrating in resonance with you. She felt time slowing down as if the universe was pausing to record the moment in eternal records. She felt higher dimensions confirming, it's him. Finally, it's him. Her heart started beating in a rhythm she had never experienced. It wasn't the acceleration of nervousness, it was synchronization. As if her heart was trying to match the frequency of yours, seeking resonance that only soulmates can achieve. Her hands trembled, not from fear, from cellular recognition. As if every molecule of her being was screaming, "We found him. After all the lifetime searching, we finally found him." But here's what's devastating, she couldn't tell you anything. Why? Because she knew something you didn't know. She knew that if she revealed the truth in that moment, if she told you, "You're my soulmate, I've been waiting for you my whole life," you would think she was crazy. You would think she was an unstable person taking advantage of your kindness. You would think it was a trap or manipulation. So she did the only thing she could do. She accepted your help in silence. She thanked you with a voice she could barely control, because emotion threatened to break into tears. She looked into your eyes for 3 seconds longer than socially normal, desperately hoping you would see what she was seeing. And then she let you go. But she didn't really let you go. What happened after that encounter is something that not even higher dimensions anticipated completely. She investigated you, not like an obsessive stalker, not like an unbalanced person, but like a conscious soulmate who had just confirmed the most important vision of her entire life and needed to validate that she wasn't experiencing an illusion. The first 3 days she didn't sleep. She spent nights reviewing every detail she remembered from that encounter. The exact tone of your voice, the way your eyes looked at her, the pattern of energy she felt emanating from you. Everything was evidence she needed to process. If she remembered any detail about location, she went back there. She returned to the exact place where you met. She walked the same streets. She felt the same energy, secretly hoping that maybe you would also return, that maybe the universe would create a second casual encounter. If you mentioned work, industry, city, she investigated exhaustively, not invasively, but methodically, like a spiritual detective following frequency trails that only a soulmate could detect. If you were wearing clothes with a logo, specific brand, any visual clue, she followed those trails. She visited stores. She asked about communities. She was looking for any thread that could lead her back to you. And eventually she found you. Not physically, digitally. She found your profile on social media. And when she saw your photo for the first time on screen, she cried for 20 minutes without stopping. Because there was visual confirmation of something her soul already knew with absolute certainty. She started following discreetly, watching your posts, reading your words, observing your life from a safe distance. And everything she discovered confirmed what her frequency had already detected that day. You are who she was looking for. But the most devastating thing was when she started noticing patterns that only a soulmate could recognize. She discovered that in moments where she was going through a specific emotional crisis, you would post something exactly related to that crisis. The same day she lost an important job, you wrote about resilience facing unexpected losses. The same day she ended a toxic relationship, you shared a reflection about letting go of what no longer serves. The same day she discovered betrayal from a close friend, you posted about the importance of genuine circles. Not because you knew about her, but because your frequencies were so intertwined that you were experiencing parallel challenges in synchronistic moments. For those who want to deepen, there's exclusive material in the description and pinned comment. But the investigation wasn't just about validating the encounter. It was about understanding you completely. She studied your character like an archaeologist studying a lost civilization. Every word you wrote revealed values. Every decision you shared showed priorities. Every interaction you had exposed integrity. Everything was evidence building a complete profile of who you really are. And what she discovered made her fall in love with you 1,000 times more deeply than that first encounter. She discovered that your kindness that day wasn't an isolated act. It's who you are constantly. She saw how you treat people who can't offer you anything in return. Waiters in restaurants, cleaning staff, people experiencing homelessness. Always with the same respect, same dignity, Same genuine humanity. She saw how you defend causes without seeking recognition, how you help when no one is watching to applaud, how you maintain integrity, even when the easy path would be to compromise values. She discovered that you struggle with the same deep fears she struggles with. Fear of not being enough despite everything you offer. Fear of never finding genuine connection that sees who you really are beneath social masks. Fear of being destined for emotional loneliness despite being surrounded by people. And each shared fear confirmed that you weren't just compatible. You were perfect complements. Where she is strong, you are vulnerable. Where you are strong, she is vulnerable. Like two puzzle pieces designed by a divine architect to fit in ways that defy mathematical probability. But what really convinced her was something she discovered by accident navigating your old content. She found a post you made 3 years before meeting her. Something you wrote in a moment of deep vulnerability. And in that post, you described exactly the type of connection you were looking for. You didn't describe specific physical traits. You didn't describe profession or status. You described frequency. You described a soul that could see yours without filters. You described connection that transcended words and operated in pure resonance. And every characteristic you mentioned was exactly what she represents. It was as if you had written a description of her without knowing she existed. As if your soul had been sending a message to the universe. Find me someone like this. And the universe had been orchestrating the encounter since that moment. When she read that, she cried tears she hadn't cried in years, because she finally had bi-directional confirmation. Not only had she seen visions of you, you had manifested visions of her. Your frequencies had been seeking each other through the veil of physical existence. This is where the story takes a turn that most soulmates never have the courage to take. She decided not to approach yet, and that decision required a level of spiritual integrity and self-control that few people possess. Why not approach when she had finally found what she'd been looking for her whole life? Because she knew something critical that requires deep spiritual maturity to understand. She knew that if she approached at the wrong moment when you weren't emotionally prepared, when your frequency still wasn't tuned to recognize profound connection, when you were still healing wounds from past relationships, she could ruin the destiny that had waited millennia. Soulmates don't function on common human chronology. They don't operate under the urgency of emotional need. They function in kairotic time, perfect time, divine time where every element must be aligned so that union is sustainable eternally. And she knew the time still wasn't perfect. She saw that you were processing endings of old cycles. She saw that you still had energetic cords with past situations that needed to be cut completely. She saw that you were in a process of self-discovery that needed to complete before you could give yourself completely to a new connection. And most important, she saw that your frequency was still operating from programming that would make you doubt genuine connection if it appeared too easily. Part of you still believed that true love had to be complicated, difficult, earned through suffering. So she did something extraordinary that demonstrates real love versus selfish need. She decided to work on herself while patiently waiting for you to work on yourself. She decided to become the best possible version for when the perfect moment finally arrived. She started healing traumas she knew would create friction in a future relationship, wounds of abandonment, patterns of insecure attachment, fears of genuine intimacy. Everything was addressed consciously because she didn't want to bring heavy emotional baggage to a connection that would be the foundation for the rest of their lives. She started developing skills she knew you would need in a partner, not to impress you, but to be able to genuinely support you in the mission you came to fulfill together. Because she knew your union wasn't just for personal happiness, it was for specific work that only you can do combined. She started elevating her frequency deliberately to match yours. Daily meditations, spiritual practices, constant energetic cleansing, all designed to ensure that when you finally met consciously, the resonance would be so perfect there would be no doubt. And while she did all this, she continued observing you from a distance. Not invasively, not obsessively, but like a celestial guardian monitoring your spiritual progress. But she didn't just observe you passively. She was actively working in your life from dimensions that ordinary consciousness doesn't perceive. Remember those moments where you felt an inexplicable impulse to continue when you wanted to give up? Moments where something inside you said, "Don't stop now," without apparent logical reason. It might have been her, sending you strength from invisible frequencies. She had learned techniques of energetic projection, not dark magic, Not manipulation, but genuine sending of spiritual support. When she knew you were struggling, she would sit in meditation and direct energy of fortitude toward you, and you received it without knowing where it came from. Remember those strange synchronicities where exactly what you needed appeared at the perfect moment? Book you needed to find, person you needed to meet, opportunity you needed to receive. She was working from the astral plane, subtly manipulating probabilities to manifest help you needed, not because she wanted to control you, but because she really loves you in a way that transcends common human selfishness. She loves you enough to help you even when you don't get credit. She loves you enough to be your invisible support without expecting recognition. Remember those dreams where you felt a loving feminine presence you couldn't identify but left you feeling deep peace upon waking? They weren't fantasies. They were real encounters in the astral plane. When you sleep, barriers between dimensions dissolve, and she takes advantage of those moments to visit you in altered states of consciousness, not to invade your space, but to keep the connection alive until the physical moment arrives. In those astral encounters, she talks to you. She tells you things that your conscious mind doesn't remember upon waking, but your subconscious absorbs completely. She tells you that you're not alone, that someone is waiting for you, that the connection you seek exists and is closer than you imagine. And although you don't remember specific conversations, you wake up feeling renewed hope without knowing why. Exactly 6 months ago, something changed. She received a signal from higher dimensions. It wasn't a literal voice. It wasn't a message written in the sky. It was deep knowing that arrived during morning meditation, knowing that time was finally approaching, that both of you had elevated your frequency sufficiently, that the moment of conscious reunion was being actively orchestrated. And then she started preparing in ways that, when you discover, will leave you speechless. First, she started positioning herself strategically in your life without you noticing consciously. Not physically yet, but energetically and socially. If you've met new people recently who seem extraordinarily connected to you, there's a high probability that she's connected to those people. She has contacted them subtly. She has created genuine friendships with them. And now they're in your circle, creating invisible bridges between you. If you've discovered new places lately that resonate deeply with you, it may be that she influenced those discoveries. She mentioned those places to people she knew would recommend them to you. She left online reviews she knew you'd read, all subtly designed to guide you toward spaces where you'll eventually meet. If your life started moving in directions you didn't anticipate but feel right, she may be working from invisible dimensions to create the perfect path toward reunion, energetically rejecting opportunities that would take you away, amplifying synchronicities that bring you closer. Second, she's healing any residual energy from your past relationships. And this is the most disturbing thing for logical mind, but completely real for conscious soulmates. She has been literally cutting energetic cords that kept you tied to connections that didn't serve your highest good. Not with malice, not with jealousy, but with genuine love that wants to see you completely free when you finally meet her. She did liberation rituals in your name. She sent forgiveness to people who hurt you, releasing karma between you. She cleaned emotional residues you still carried unconsciously, all so that when she finally reveals herself, you can give yourself completely without past baggage interfering. And third, she's leaving clues. Clues that only you could recognize if you were paying attention. So how do you know if it's really her? How do you distinguish between wishful imagination and genuine recognition of a soulmate actively working in your life? Here are the specific signs that confirm her invisible presence operating in your reality. First sign: synchronicities related to deep human connection. If lately the universe is bombarding you with messages about true love, about patience in relationships, about preparation for someone special, she's using the morphogenetic field to communicate with you. You watch movies where the main theme is soulmates finding each other. You hear songs about destined connection. You read articles about transcendental love. Everything appearing just when you need a reminder that genuine connection exists. Second sign: recurring dreams with a feminine presence. You can't identify but feel deeply familiar. Those dreams aren't random fantasies. They're real encounters in the astral plane where she's preparing you energetically for physical encounter. Pay attention to details in those dreams. Hair color that appears consistently. Tone of voice you hear. Specific sensation you experience. When you finally meet her physically, you're going to recognize those details instantly. Third sign: inexplicable impulse to improve specific aspects of yourself. Not from insecurity, not from external pressure, but because something inside you knows you need to be in the best possible version for what's coming. You start caring for your health without apparent reason. You start reading books about personal development. You start meditating or practicing spirituality, all driven by an invisible force that is her working in your energetic field from a distance. Fourth sign, nearly impossible encounters with people who casually mention someone who fits perfectly with who you could imagine as a soulmate. Conversations where someone says, "I know a person who would be perfect for you," but never makes the introduction concrete. Those mentions aren't casual. They're part of a network of synchronicities she's weaving meticulously. She's planting seeds in the collective consciousness of people around you, preparing the ground for when revelation finally happens. Fifth sign, persistent sensation that you're being lovingly watched, not threateningly, not invasively, but as if invisible but completely benevolent eyes were monitoring your progress with deep affection. That sensation is real. She's observing you from frequencies that are just beyond your ordinary conscious perception. And when you finally meet her physically, you're going to recognize that sensation instantly, because it's exactly how her presence feels. And the most devastating sign of all, sudden memories of that original encounter that you hadn't thought about in years. Your subconscious is finally processing what your soul knew immediately that day. That encounter was more important than your conscious mind recognized. And now we arrive at the part that probably brought you here. What's going to happen now? When are you finally going to meet her consciously? Within the next 90 days, you're going to experience a dramatic acceleration of synchronicities related to significant human encounters. You're going to be placed in social situations you would normally avoid. You're going to receive invitations to places you wouldn't normally visit. You're going to feel inexplicable impulses to be in specific public spaces at specific times. Don't ignore those impulses. They're direct guidance from higher dimensions, creating perfect intersections between your timeline and hers. Within the next year, you're going to notice that people in your life start talking about someone specific repeatedly. Different people in unrelated conversations, all mentioning the same woman, describing her in ways that resonate deeply with you without understanding why. That repetition isn't coincidence. It's the universe preparing you psychologically to meet her. It's building anticipation in your subconscious, so that when she finally appears, recognition will be instantaneous. And at some point within the next 18 months, you're going to be in a specific place at a specific moment, and you're going to see someone who's going to paralyze your entire nervous system. It's not going to be common physical attraction you feel with beautiful people. It's going to be frequency recognition that operates at a completely different level. You're going to look at her and something in your soul is going to scream so loud you're going to feel it physically. Her. Finally, it's her. Your heart is going to start beating in a pattern you've never experienced. Your hands are going to tremble without apparent reason. You're going to feel as if time is slowing down and everything around becomes blurry except her. And in that same moment, she's going to look at you with eyes full of tears she's been holding back for years, because she's going to know that you've finally reached the level of consciousness where you can recognize her without her having to convince you. And the first thing she's going to say isn't going to be, "Hello, my name is..." It's going to be something completely unexpected that only makes sense for someone who's been waiting for this moment for years. Something like, "I thought you would never wake up," or "I can finally stop hiding," or "I've been waiting for this moment my whole life." And in that instant, you're going to remember everything. You're going to remember the original encounter with devastating clarity. You're going to remember every time you felt her presence without seeing her. You're going to remember every synchronicity that was a message from her. And you're going to understand that your entire life was moving inexorably toward this point of convergence. But here's what you need to understand with absolute clarity. That encounter is only going to happen if you do your part now. If you keep working on yourself without giving up. If you maintain your frequency elevated even when life tests you harshly. If you remain open to the possibility that something greater than your current understanding is orchestrating your life toward the destiny you deserve. She's already doing her part. She's been doing it for years without failing once. Now it's your turn to elevate yourself to the level where you can finally meet consciously and begin the mission you came to fulfill together. Chosen one, now you know the devastating truth about who you saved that day that seemed so ordinary. It wasn't just any stranger needing momentary help. It wasn't casual coincidence without profound meaning. It wasn't an insignificant moment you could easily forget. You saved the only person in this infinite universe whose soul is intertwined with yours from before linear time existed, and she knows it. She's known it since that exact moment, and she's been working tirelessly since then to create a path back to you. While you were living an ordinary life thinking that encounter was a kind gesture without consequences, she was in the invisible background healing, growing, evolving, positioning herself strategically, all for the perfect moment where your frequencies could finally resonate consciously, without interferences from false programming. And that moment is closer than your logical mind can imagine. It's so close that if you paid complete attention, you could feel the vibration of anticipation in the air around you. If this revelation touched something deep in your soul, if you felt chills running through your body while you listened, if tears came without apparent reason that mind can explain, it's because your highest frequency recognizes absolute truth in these words. It recognizes that someone really has been waiting for you with patience that defies impatient human nature, that you're not destined for the emotional loneliness you so fear, that the genuine connection you yearn for is not only possible but absolutely inevitable. For those who made it to the end and want to deepen in this knowledge about how to consciously prepare for encounter with Soulmate, there's specific material that costs less than a pizza and comes with complete audiobook and 5-minute meditation guide as a special bonus. If you feel you deserve to accelerate the reunion process consciously, access is available in the link in the description and pinned comment. If you recognize that you saved someone important without knowing the complete magnitude of that act, write 777 in the comments to amplify the frequency of recognition and accelerate the synchronicities that are inevitably bringing her back to you. Subscribe to this channel and activate all notifications to receive more revelations about how soulmates operate from dimensions that ordinary consciousness cannot perceive directly. Share this video with someone you feel might be living a similar story of unrecognized connection, because separated soulmates need to awaken simultaneously for conscious reunion to be possible. And before you leave, click on the video appearing on your screen right now to discover the specific signs that your soulmate is close and how to recognize her definitively when she finally reveals herself. Together, we are stronger.